overtime. But nonetheless, it's just, I agree. I mean, I know a lot of Packer fans want to go ahead and say that we're going back to the GOAT. They want to go ahead and say Rodgers is the GOAT. Yes, he can make amazing throws. But the thing is I feel like he's had to carry the defense so much that this could finally be the year where he comes back out and shows his little bit of MVP side. And I feel like Drew and Aaron and Tom it's going to be like the last hurrah for the aging quarterback's MVP for like this year.
Wait. Now, wait a second. No, wait. The last hurrah? Like, okay. Like, I've learned something over the last month, Chris, and it's this. We all need to stop trying to make these guys go away. There's no guarantee Patrick Mahomes is going to be around for 10 years. There's no guarantee any of these young quarterbacks.
I'm just talking about the younger generation, Jay.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm trying to say we need to appreciate and embrace these guys. And God dang it, I hope they can all play really nice because I'm not a Patriots fan.
They will.
I'm learning to appreciate the greatness because
Thank you, Russell Baxter and Joe Zagorski.
We just don't know when we're going to see it again.
Yeah, I mean, that's that point, actually.
Go ahead, Chris. I'm sorry.
Like those quarterbacks, like you said, I don't actually – it's not even the Patrick Mahomes side because I really do hope he plays for 10, 15 years, whatever it is, because he's so fun to watch. And he actually has that – it's not close yet because it's only 1 year. I need to see more. But he has that trait to Rodgers sometimes where he makes throws and you're like, only Rodgers can do that or only Mahomes does that. Like, they're so special. So I hope he can play for a while. I'm looking more towards the veterans. Like, I don't want to count them out until they're officially done. Like, Tom Brady did that by some standards, and they won a Super Bowl. So I don't know what he's going to call it, but I really don't.
Yeah, and I'm always saying the last two out for Rodgers. I was just talking about, like, this generation of quarterback because Drew and Tom are up there, and I'm not even going to mention Eli. He's just an old QB that I think needs to call it quits in that aspect.
Phillip Rivers.
Oh, yeah, Phil. If there was a quarterback that I wasn't rooting for besides Rob, it's Phillip Rivers all day long, Chris. This guy has carried that franchise for years, and they finally gave him a team this year, maybe the year before that too. But, man, if this year after adding all these pieces in the draft and free agency for 2 years in a row, it's probably now or never for Phil. I mean, the guy literally gave his body to the Chargers.
Yeah, he's someone that I think we're all, unless you just don't like the Chargers, we're all rooting for him to get a ring. He needs to
AFC West fan.
I thought he had a chance this year, and it was actually pretty upsetting to see them just get blown out by New England with ease. Maybe this year, who knows? But Phillip Rivers, he might be gone, and Big Ben will probably be the other guy just to throw in that, class of older veteran quarterbacks.
I just feel like he's probably the closest quarterback that's been in those top tiers that is like ready to meet the edge of the cliff. Because if you watch his throws from like look at last year, he had Antonio Brown all last year, the year before that, and Antonio just killed it. I don't know. I think Ben with a lot of his, especially the Jacksonville games 2 years ago, when Jacksonville just had his number, and I'm just seeing, and last year too, it's just these throws, Chris, that it makes me just take a step back. I'm like, that's not Big Ben. And it's just questionable decision-making. And I'm wondering if just age is kind of getting to that factor to him of where he's questioning his own play.
Yeah, that's actually fair. And the other thing, too, the Steelers have had a bunch of weapons. He's had Juju, he's had Antonio Brown, and players that you don't really need to make the best throw, and they'll come down with that ball. And there's also times where Big Ben played I think I'm ready to leave card. I think it was 2 seasons prior, and he was like, you know what, I might retire. If that's the case, then if your heart's not in it, you got to leave. I do agree with you, though. If one of them's ready to call it quits, it probably is him.
Especially if they don't do it this year. I mean, if you look, they do still have weapons. And I think Vance McDonald was one of the underrated tight end options because he actually came in and showed out last year and basically kicked Jesse James to the curb. Juju, if he can produce like he did, but James Conner, to me, is that engine that's going to make Pittsburgh churn. He came in, no questions asked last year, and did more than enough to fill in for Le'Veon Bell.
All right,
I mean,
guys, we got at the 10-minute mark, and so we're gonna play a game with you, Chris. It's called Final Drive. All right, and it's a little game we do. It's a rapid fire questioning. You get 45 seconds to answer the question, and and you get buzzed basically, and it's the next person's question. We all get a turn or take on this, and then we move on. You got that, everybody? Dave?
Yes, I'm awake for this episode, Jay. Thank you for the reminder.
Yes, Dave doesn't have such a great track record with this one, to be honest, Chris.
We did it one time.
Up the middle, they
Just
pick it
saying,
up. Rodgers looks,
Dave doesn't have the greatest track record with this.
I told you, Chris, he's the mean circus monger in the back whipping the bear, and I'm just the bear doing all the tricks.
I am kind of evil back here on the board.
20-10 for the Chicago 12. Snap to Rodgers under a blitz. Rodgers tight pocket.
It's the final drive. All right, Chris. We're going to start off with you on the questioning. You get 45 seconds after the question is asked. It is better 2019 season, Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers, I think, in terms of statistics, I think Rodgers, as long as he's healthy, he's going to be better. I think the one problem I have with saying Drew Brees would be better statistically is after the Thanksgiving game against the Falcons, his numbers dropped dramatically. He had a rough start. Even in the playoffs, the first throw he made against the Eagles in the divisional round, he threw an interception on the first play. His deep ball is declining, and that's expected. He's 40. It happens. And I think Rodgers, as long as he's healthy and he likes LaFleur's system, I think he's going to be able to flourish and at the very least have better numbers than Drew Brees.
Oh, he finishes with 6 seconds. You see how, man, he's young and he's good at this game, Dave. You got a lot to catch up with. All right, Dave, 45 seconds. Your turn.
Aaron Rodgers.
Time.
I have all the respect for Brees in the world, but like Chris just said, he's hit that age level where it's just gonna at that cliff. And Rodgers still 35 years old. He showed he still had it last year. He had 25 touchdowns on a broken left tibial plateau fracture. This year he's getting Devontae Adams even better this year than he was last year because he was playing hurt too. MVS, Geronimo, Aaron Jones, LaFleur's passing system for the running backs, using the running backs more. I'm taking Rodgers.
Okay, and Dave, you're trying to show off now. You finished with time left on the clock too. Okay, well, I'm taking Rodgers.
Yeah, you keep bragging about him.
I'm taking Rodgers, and for the obvious reasons, there's no tape on Rodgers in this offense, period. So it's not going to be hard for him to break everybody's will on the football field. Okay, this one we're going to let Dave go first. Better MVP odds, Dave, Drew Brees or Aaron Rodgers? Go.
I'm picking Rodgers again because there's more attention there. Like, we know the Saints are going to be there. We know Drew Brees is going to be there, but a lot of the spotlight's on Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara. It's, hey, can Rodgers work with LaFleur? And with that, it's going to get more attention, and I think Rodgers comes out and kills it in LaFleur's offense. I think he goes back up to around 37 to 41 touchdowns, about 4,000 to 4,500 yards, and single-digit interceptions as always.
Oh, show off. That was 10 seconds left on the clock. And see, when you do this, then I got to talk and wait for this timer to reset on my phone so that I can, get to the next one. All right, Chris, your turn. Better MVP odds for 2019, Rodgers or Brees? Go.
If I'm a betting man, I would rather bet on Rodgers. I think his odds are actually going to be a little bit less than Drew Brees, so I think he'll be able to get more money for it. So I kind of, if I'm betting on it, I would rather take Rodgers' odds. And the reason I think is because I think Alvin Kamara is going to put up insane numbers with Mark Ingram, especially from a fantasy perspective. And obviously, reality matters more. But fantasy, Alvin Kamara is one of the best, if not the best running back for the absence of Mark Ingram. So I think his numbers are going to skyrocket up. And Drew Brees, I don't think is going to have all the passing yards, all the passing touchdowns. He might finish with about 4,000 passing yards, maybe 30 touchdowns, maybe a little bit less. I think Rodgers going to have better numbers, therefore better odds.
Oh, you went over the timer. Oh, you got whistled. I got to use my whistle today. Woohoo! I feel great. All right, Chris, you're up first. Running back hot seat this season. Who is it?
Ooh, running back hot seat in the entire NFL?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to say for the entire NFL, I'm probably going to go with one of your guys, I think. I'm going to have to. I think Aaron Jones, I kind of feel like this is the year he's got to get it done. We all know he's good. We've seen him make big plays. But I think we're all waiting for him to finally take on that load and be a workhorse back. So I don't think if he can't do it this year, I don't know when it's going to happen. As a fantasy owner of him multiple times, I hope this is the season. But that's the running back that I'm a little bit skeptical on, and I want to see him do well, but it'll be in the hot seat.
Oh, good job. Dave, I think he stole your thunder on that one, dude. Same question, Dave. NFL running back hot seat. Go.
Running back hot seat. Saints rival Falcons. Devontae Freeman better step his game up. He has been injured often, way too much, for way too much money making as a running back when they just let go of Kevin Coleman, who's been making the offense turn. Devontae Freeman, yeah, he can run between the tackles, but I've also been seeing him fumble on the ball. I've also seen him kind of miss some blocks here and there. To me, with that big Super Bowl loss that they had, he was one of the main reasons they lost that game. Dante Hightower, thank Devontae Freeman for that. Devontae Freeman, get your act together and earn your pay.
All this finishing with time left. It doesn't make the game very fun for the guy with the buzzers on the other end. This isn't... I'm taking Ezekiel Elliott anyhow because Ezekiel Elliott didn't perform up to what his fourth overall pick in a running back in an age where running backs are rarely picked in the first round, let alone in the top 5 or top 10. And he's getting himself in trouble regardless if he's suspended or not in a contract year when, for running backs, you're going to get franchise tagged instead of a long-term deal if you can't stay on the field. So to me, Ezekiel Elliott on the hot seat. All right, we're going to let Chris go again first just because it's, he's a guest. Better wide receiver, Devontae Adams or Michael Thomas? Chris, 45 seconds,
honestly,
go.
I don't even want to be mean because I love Devontae Adams. He's one of my favorites. I don't really think it's that close right now. I think Michael Thomas is the better receiver. And the reason why I think Michael Thomas is one of the few in the game that you have to double and sometimes triple by bracket covering him just to take him out, because we saw in the divisional round, the Eagles lost, and the biggest reason why is because Michael Thomas was running free. There were games where he's had 200-plus receiving yards. He has the most receptions through 3 seasons of any wide receiver in their NFL career. He's on pace to probably become the highest-paid guy at his position. I think he's fantastic, and I do think overall he's a better receiver right now.
The problem with that answer is it's wrong, one, and because we don't know if he can actually catch a ball in the elements, Mr. Dome Receiver.
Ooh.
Dome Receiver! Excuse me, I blacked out. What just happened? Anyway, Dave, better wide receiver, Adams or Michael Thomas?
I'm pulling the homer card. Devontae Adams, he's up on the rise, and I think he's a better overall receiver because, one, he has a nose for the end zone. Since 2016, he is in second place for total touchdowns. What wins games? Touchdowns. He's the only one person ahead of him is Antonio Brown, and it's pretty good company to have. Thomas is built like a freak athlete. He gets yards, but I need to see those red zone catches. I know he's in the Saints offense with a lot of weapons, but hey, if you're that number one wide receiver and you're wanting $22 million a year or $20 million, you need to get in that end zone.
Well then, guys, we have 30 seconds left, so we want to thank Chris for coming on. You're a brilliant young
thank you,
individual,
brother. We're honored.
Chris. Very brilliant young individual, and I think you got great things in your future. Why don't you give them a shout-out to how to get a hold of you real quick?
You guys can follow me on Twitter at Rosvoglou Report, ROSVOGLOU Report. That's probably the easiest way to contact me and the best. I also have an Instagram page with the same exact handle. to make it easier for people. But that's the best way of reaching out to me.